Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium, numerologist, healer, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there is always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Psychic Hour. Today, we have the interview series with psychic medium and mentor Jennifer Rose. Hello, everybody coming on in. Hello, Keith. Hello, Aspen. Thank you for being here. And away we go in just a moment with the topic of the day. And I have a raspiness. I don't know where it's coming from. Like, it just comes out of the blue. So if you hear me going like a couple of times, just bear with me, okay? It adds character. It adds tenacity to what we're trying to do here today. Hello, Stacia. Hello, everybody. So please, as we are together, if you have a question that naturally comes up with what we're talking about when we go into the interview with psychic mediumship, or what we're sharing within just what naturally comes up within the life story of the sharing or just the topics, please pop the question down, because this is how we share as a community and how we just grow as a community. So I encourage you to do that as we are naturally talking. The topic of the day is connection. So that's why I'm just like, hey, connect. We're all here. Let's do it. Let's be in the mix. Let's celebrate. Let's open up. And it's important to have that vibration for ourselves. And it's important to have that vibration when we are comfortable with others. A lot of times when we are learning about ourselves and developing, we are connecting the pieces of ourselves. So, we're connecting the past, the present, the future, and kind of who we are and who we are looking to be, or what we're restoring from the past. All the power is in the present. It's very true, but we do have to go to the past for a moment and to restore and heal and make sure that we are present, because a lot of times we go, oh, we are present, let's do this, and we're just like, why is this wobbly, or where did that come from, or why is this coming up? And it's because a lot of times our energy is in the past, so we do have to go to the past to be present, and then we do have to go a little bit to the future to understand what we're looking to intend and create and be a part of, and where our focus is. It's very important to know how we are moving forward and to connect those pieces, and to connect within ourself what our energies are doing even outside of us. Like, how does our house look? How do our friendships look? How do the pieces of our life look? Because whether something is organized, it could be a reason because of the past, or disorganized, it could be a reason because of the past. Why something is organized within your house, I'm just going to do the organization metaphor, could be a reason for the future. Like, I'm intending for better, or I need this to go well, or, why something is disorganized could be an intention for the future. Hey, I usually am OCD, so I'm letting things kind of just fall as they will, because I need additional energy and I need to do things a little bit differently for this to work for me this time around. Whatever it is, it's right if you're connected to yourself. Like, if you are connected to the reasons why you are doing what you're doing, you can't go wrong with that, as long as we're continuously going, okay, I'm moving the energy, I'm understanding why, even if this is a slam dunk decision, or I'm gripping, I'm white knuckling, right? I need to do this. I know why I'm doing this. Maybe this is not the best idea, but I'm aware that I need to do this for my best healing. As long as you're connected, that is where everything happens. And so connect the pieces to your life, whether it is something that you're working on. If it's not getting off the ground, it's disconnected. And it's not negative. It's just sometimes in order to make the event shine, you have to make sure that you are communicating with people. You have to make sure that you've envisioned your success. You have to make sure that you've done the work. And to do the work, maybe you have to make sure you go for a walk and take care of your health. And all these pieces go together to ensure that the energy is ripe and fresh and abundant, right? And the more we have the pieces connected, the greater our success is, the greater our congruence is. And it's really important too, because I know that sometimes when I'm not connected to my own self, that sometimes I feel like in disarray. So I don't feel as social or open, or I don't feel like I have excess energy, even within my additional projects. So whatever you are projecting or whatever you're internalizing, just take a moment and say, how is my energy as a soul with what I'm producing, with what I'm experiencing, with what I'm creating, and what comes forth? And we're all human. We're all human. It's not meant to be perfect. It's not meant to be anything other than the experience. It's not meant to be anything other than us understanding our energy and what energy that we can participate in. So, within that, connecting to our energy, connecting to ourselves, I hope that you get nuggets of insight where you can connect to the next piece and go, I think I understand this a little bit better. I think I have a little extra awareness, and to have gratitude within that. So, hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Hello, Heather. Hello, Jessie Cat. Hello, and everybody listening. Thank you for being here. With that said, I want to bring in our guest, Jennifer Rose. So we're going to do that. Hello.
Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Hi, Jennifer. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. I'm so happy in seeing everybody here. I just want to say hi to all the guests that are on too. So, yay.
Yay. People are saying, yay, Jennifer. People are being
Hey, Stacia. How you doing?
sunny like a sunflower. I love your background. So I want to give you a warm introduction. So for everybody who is meeting Jennifer Rose for the first time through here or already knows her, Jennifer Rose serves as an international spiritual evidential medium, trance healer, and channel. She shares her gifts as a teacher, public speaker, transformational guide, writer, poet, and humanitarian among her many passions. Jennifer's mediumship includes one-on-one group audiences, spiritualist churches, and for charitable causes to spread the awareness that love and life are eternal. She is known for her accuracy, love, and compassion when connecting with spirit. Teaching mediumship, healing, and spirituality are also her passions, with helping others to discover and enhance their spiritual gifts and embrace their own unique way of working. Jennifer hosts For the Love of Spirit Sunday through the spiritual service that happens every month, bringing the spiritual community together in celebration. She is honored to be a part of the love, hope, and peace that is gained through mediumship, healing, and spiritual development that she helps to facilitate. Thank you for being here, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me, Kelly.
Absolutely. So, you are in California, and how long have you opened up your world to mediumship and energy? Was it when you were a child? Was it when you were a young adult? Did it open up later in life? Like, when did mediumship come to you and you were like, okay, this is a part of my life?
That is a really, really good question. I did have some experiences when I was little. I wasn't one of those people that, children that had spirits visiting them constantly. That wasn't me. But I knew I was intuitive. I was highly, highly sensitive, which made it, a little hard to sometimes fit in with other kids and people that didn't quite understand what that's like. But I did have, some, some memorable experiences with spirit, but I just really didn't quite know what that was. And if a family member or loved one had passed on, I might be able to be aware that they were there, but didn't quite understand it. Just figured that was kind of normal, you know. And then a little bit later, probably around 2016, is when I started developing, and I had been feeling that pull, that soul calling for quite a while. Like, so it was coming, and then it got to be too strong to where my fears were overridden by my higher self dragging me along. And the rest is history.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What were the pulls that were so strong that you surrendered to?
It's very hard to put into words what that is, but I know that there was back then there was a lot of medium TV shows and things like that, and I would also watch other things on TV which were spiritually oriented. I would always be gravitated to anything spiritually oriented. Even in my younger teenage years, I was going to metaphysical bookstores and looking at the crystals and looking at the books. I was like always into it. But it kept getting stronger and stronger to where I was like, I know I have to do that. I just know I have to. It was like that. It was that crystal clear. And then it was just finding the place to start. So yeah, it's kind of hard to put into words, but it's just like, I have to do that. I have to go there. There's no other choice in the matter. It's kind of like you get called. It wasn't so much of a choice as much of, if it's meant to be your destiny or your mission in life, you don't really you get called in, you get, it's a
Yeah.
call.
Yeah,
So
you
and you
felt
have
it
to
in your
answer it.
soul. You felt it in
Yeah,
your soul.
exactly. Yeah,
And
and in my
did
heart,
you
absolutely, yes.
in your
Yeah.
heart, did you find yourself, like, just feeling happier and more relaxed and just allowing yourself to do it then?
Yeah, what was really beautiful, especially in the beginning, was to find like-minded people who were like me, and I really felt like for the first time, like, I get to be me. I get to be me, like, not just the roles I play, which are significant and important, playing all the different roles that we have in life with our, different people that we're connected to in our relationships, but the that higher inner essence of me. I get to be me, and that was very, very freeing. It was, and that was like kind of the first time I ever felt that before. So it was special. Yeah.
I think that is amazing because a lot of people within this work, they have curiosity or they know a part of it is important to them, but they hesitate and they don't really enact that full sense of, I get to be myself. I think that's a huge thing to talk about,
Yeah.
actually.
Definitely. Yeah. It's hard to sometimes define what yourself is. Like, what does that mean? What does myself mean? And so that's part of the journey. And so it's one of the reasons we get into this work. It's not just to help other people, because they usually, that's the calling, is you want to be of service to your community and to humanity in the different ways, and you realize that this is your way. But there's also an extensive self-discovery process that goes with it, of that journey of, the know thyself process that you go on. And I wasn't expecting that. I just thought I was going to learn how to do this special thing and be me, and then it
Yes,
was finding out, well, what does that mean exactly, and that's a never ending story that we're always unfolding and unraveling. But it gets, deeper and deeper as you go.
it is. It is a never ending
Mm,
story.
mhm.
Um, What are some of the things that you frequently, whether it is in a group or one on one, do you see coming up within people when they understand about themselves on a deeper level, or spirit gives them a message to help remind them?
Yeah, it's interesting, in the beginning, usually people start, whether they're going to mediumship or healing or other spiritual modalities, and usually meditation ends up being kind of like that beginning state. Most people start there with some kind of meditation process to learn to kind of how to quiet the mind or to sort of reach those other spaces. And then you're going to start getting a lot of signs and synchronicities, and like being, pulled in different directions to where you're supposed to go and who you're supposed to meet. And then it will start to get deeper and deeper and deeper. So it's kind of like, the more you get into it, it's almost like going down into the rabbit hole. The more you get into it, then you get deeper and deeper into the levels of different kinds of consciousness, different levels of consciousness that you can reach. And for me, it was like getting to that place of realizing that me is also more than my personality and all of the different facets of my personality and parts of me. Me is the spirit, and that's never separate from me. And even though we feel like a very like autonomous, personality of a person, and we hear that phrase, you're a spiritual being having a human experience, you still feel very separate. It still feels very real. And for me, it does too, much of the time, but I'm always aware that I'm spirit too. And so that's really where it kind of came to, was in the beginning. It's like I get to be me, and that was the me I knew myself to be back then, which is I'm I'm part of this world that I know I'm supposed to be in, and this is I'm using my gift and finding my purpose, and then moving fast forwarding, down the road is like, well, I never stopped being spirit. We're all spirit. We're all spirit doing this, and we kind of put on our costumes. We've got we've got a closet of costumes, and the ones in front are the ones we wear most of the time, but they change up a little bit too. And occasionally something from the very back comes out, and we go, "Ooh, who's that?" you know, just to kind of put it in a little bit of a humorous kind of description, but to realize that you're the spirit who's also like looking at all of the possibilities too. So it's interesting.
There are a lot of possibilities, and for us to have the remembrance, because there is
Yeah.
so much. It's like, what do we grab, what do we
Yeah.
experience? And I
Hmm.
know, just I'm curious too, from learning more about you. You are a writer and a poet, and so did you have these things as a known part of you before you got into mediumship, or did mediumship help open up like creativity in you additionally?
It really, really did. I always loved writing when I was younger, but it wasn't creative writing. It was, more expository kind of writing, things like that. And so I loved using my mind in that way. For instance, if I were to write something about something I had read or something like that, like in college or once, for instance. But once I got into mediumship and I started channeling, most of my stuff I write now it's just all channeled. So that's kind of where that came in, and it's a lot of fun to do that. But yeah, I never expected to call myself a poet. So that was a fun little gift that came along the way as well too. And that's because when you're doing this work, you're using like the imagination part of your mind space, and that's where all of that is able to flow. That's where all of the writing, the poetry, and some people who are trance mediums can get, or even mental mediums doing connecting with loved ones, can start getting, like different languages coming in and things like that. So I haven't that's not me, but it's fascinating to see that happen for other
Well, I would
people.
imagine too, because like with just writing, it's an automatic process, or bits and
Mhm,
pieces, like almost like muse energy comes in. How do you experience it as a medium with just creating the things
mhm.
that come forth? They're very beautiful. Like I've read some of your
Yeah.
poems, they're very
Oh,
beautiful.
thank you so much. I got to give that credit because it's not all me, but it's interesting. I'm glad you asked that question, because what's coming to mind is, if you go back in your like high school, college days, and you had to write, let's assume you're not a regular writer, but you go back to your high school, college days, and you had to write an essay or something for class, for your English class or your history class or something. Imagine you're at your computer, or you've got your pen and paper, however you're doing it, and you have to figure out like what's the next part going to be to what you're writing, and you stop, and you kind of like go into this like blank space because you're just like waiting for like the next piece to come, right? That's not far off of how this work we do is. You move over there, you wait, and then all of a sudden it gets there. It gets to you. You realize, okay, that's the next couple lines I'm supposed to write, and then you might still like move the words around and move the sentences around and do that kind of thing. It's not far off, which is kind of interesting. So a lot of people don't realize there's things they do along their life along the way that they've been using that space and not even realizing it, the whole time. So that's really cool. That's super cool, and it helps people give kind of a framework of, because a lot of people are wondering, how does mediumship work? What is that like? How does that work to like move your awareness over? And you and I have been doing it for so long; it's really easy. We can just kind of go boop, and do like that. But with the writing, for me now, fast forward to where I am now, it's when I'm in that flow, it's just like the words are coming out. I'm not even really thinking about them or even hearing them all the time. I'm just writing them and not always even knowing like what the words are going to look like until they come out. And that's different.
Yeah, it is. The cool thing, I guess, about writing in poetry is afterwards you go, "Oh, I have
I know.
this." And when you're in your mediumship for another person most times, right? Like right in front of you, you go, "Oh, I don't have even time to think about what I just said. I'm on to the next thing, right?" I'm like, so I don't even know, but you're like, "This is wow, this came out." And like, do I change this or I just put it out as is?
Yeah, that's very true too, and I have had things change where it was pretty cool the way it was, but then you kind of flow into another little rhythm of the wave of that spiritual piece, and then you even change it again, so it can evolve, and it doesn't mean anything was wrong in the beginning, it just means that there was an evolution of that piece, and it's like maybe the the time that you're in, there was a shift in the energy or a shift in the consciousness enough that, well, no, those words look better for that today, and so I've actually have some things that I've got different versions of the same poem, and I just keep both of them for me. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like alternative, like meanings or just they gave
Mhm.
something each to you. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's
Um,
kinda like a song, Kelly, you can have a song and it can tell 10 different stories every time you listen to it, you know what I mean? Especially if you're in the flow, because when we're listening to music, we're very much in that flow and very much in the power, because you get into the emotion of the songs and you're hearing, especially when it's something you're, like, really drawn into, and you can sense the story that's behind it, and then you listen to it another time, and it's a different story, same words, different story, so a little bit like that too. Poetry is like a song, it's another song of spirit.
yeah, and if
Yeah.
it's really just natural and multifaceted, it fulfills so many needs. Do you find that so like in mediumship when things come in or when you're channeling, even within writing, do you find that your brain almost turns off? And you're just
Yeah.
like, and suddenly I'm here. How is that experience for you? And I think that's important to talk about too, because a lot of people, I guess, don't realize that their brain needs to turn off for some of this stuff sometimes.
Yeah, and that's maybe why feel like they have a little bit of a writer's block or something like that. So it's a matter of just kind of like getting into the flow. And we really do it all the time. We just don't realize it's like when you're driving and you go into that automatic driving, you don't remember how you got to where you're going, and you move into that space and you realize you've thought a thousand thoughts or dreamed a thousand dreams in that half an hour drive. You've moved into an altered space because you've gotten really relaxed and you're just kind of used to it. Or when you're in the shower or washing dishes, doing things that are very sort of methodical and monotonous and things like that, writing in a journal, listening to music, exercising. When people are in their sport, doing sports and exercising, they might say, I'm in the zone. It's the same thing. It's the power of themselves, of them and their higher selves and spirit having this experience. So it's really cool. But you are right. When we're doing that, we don't, like with a mediumship, we don't remember a lot, of the readings that we did before. Well, maybe bits and pieces, especially if it was highly charged emotionally, or the story was very unusual of that loved one that you were connecting with. Because we are in that space. It's a very different space of the mind where you don't remember a lot of it afterwards, and you kind of come back to your sort of conscious 3D awareness. So so it's just altered states
Yeah.
of consciousness, but we do that all the time anyways. When you're dreaming, before you wake up, before you go to sleep, again, when we're doing those things like washing dishes and things like that, we're always shifting. As soon as you get out of your car and go into the store, you're kind of in a different space then again. So, but it's just we do it so we're so used to it, we don't even think about it. We don't even realize that that's happening.
I think that's sometimes too how people start coming into their gifts, whether like psychic mediumship or healing. They go, "Oh, I'm having some odd experiences at certain times." So, did
Yeah.
you find that, let's say, you'd get things within your dreams before you knew about what this was? Did you find that you had deja vu or certain intuition in places where you're like, where the heck did that come from? How did these like
Hmm.
little pieces like enter or find their way to you? That's what I want to ask.
Oh, yeah. How did it start? I don't know. It just kind of like the more I started getting into it for me, I did sort of what do you call the psychic boot camp for myself. Like I really like I immersed myself wholeheartedly in the process. So I was taking a lot of different classes and doing a lot of meditating. I honestly don't really recommend that for people, but that was my path for me. And so then, the signs and the synchronicities and the transformation kind of picked up really, really fast for me. And so but it's so especially in the beginning, it's hard because, emotions are coming up for healing and things like that, but then it's so fascinating too, because when you realize you start seeing 1111 on the clock all the time, or, you start seeing license plates and you realize that you were like shifted to see that license plate or that bumper sticker or that sign. And you knew like I didn't consciously turn my head, like that was another part of me, or that was a spirit helper letting me know that that's for me. And it's fascinating. It's just you enter into a world of magic and wonder that's like, you know, being a child on Christmas. Do you ever like,
Yes.
see like I remember being a child and like seeing like an orchestra play and feeling the magic of the spirit and that wonder. And it's like that kind of feeling too. You get that back again, which is it's really special because that gets kind of squashed down for most of us during, the regular part of life.
Yes, yes. I think that, you know, in order to do the work that we do, we have to raise our vibration, especially like within mediumship, we raise our vibration to match the spirit world. And when we start hearing them, even when we don't mean to, they're giving us some of their vibration. And the more we get into it, the more it's like, this feels awesome. This feels incredible. And now I'm aware of this and what. And life can be this. It is super healing and super exciting, and it never gets old. It's like your perpetual child with how you're fascinated by things. I agree.
It's true. That's true. And I have this phrase with my friends, and it's like never surprised, always amazed. And every once in a while, like, okay, that did surprise me just a little bit because I've seen so much. I've seen so many magical miracles with spirit that I don't get surprised by it, but I'm always fascinated and amazed by it at the same time. Like, wow, there's another one. Look what they did this time. So
It's a welcome. It's a welcome.
Mm.
Sometimes they still surprise me. They still surprise me sometimes because I'll be like, really?
Yeah,
like
I
I
know.
get that anything is possible, but really?
I,
Like what?
I do
Okay,
that. I do
I
that
needed that
too.
apparently.
I do that. Like, really? I do
Yeah,
like,
I'm just like,
that's where we're
oh,
going?
okay.
Okay, all right. Like,
Guess we're doing this. Exactly. Exactly. So I don't know what's gonna happen. Um let's see. Keith is talking about seeing like 11 11s and 12 12s. I need to meditation move and try to slow down. Okay. So is that something that you found yourself being reminded of, or were there different things when you saw 11 11 or 12 12s? It depends, I guess, where you are in your life, because like for me, I know, just to, I guess, before I hand you I the question, when I see numbers, they mean different things at certain times. It's like, okay, it's acknowledgement. Yes, I feel that, or I need to remember that, or I need to do this. But did you find yourself like having the reminder to do specific things in your development as well as now when you continue to see numbers? I guess that's what I want to hone in on with you.
yeah, yeah. And that's really important what you said because the numbers can mean different things at different times, and you can look up the numbers, and if you can go look Google them, you're going to get like 25 different answers, and then you just have to kind of find the one that fits for you, like the one that resonates the most for you at that time. But you can also just kind of feel into it. Sometimes it's just a little wink, it's just reminding you that you're part of something too. For me, a lot of it was sort of a lesson in connection of the connectivity of consciousness that we're always part of. It's kind of think of it as like maybe the quantum field or something like that, but it is perfect. It is perfect and intelligent beyond words. And it's amazing to see how connected everything is. So you realize that the timing of it too. So for instance, if you find yourself, you know, seeing that serial number over and over and over again, it's like it's telling you something about the timing. Like everything had to be aligned to get you to that point to see it at that time too. And we often don't kind of like even stop and think about that. It's like because it's not all random. A lot of things happen to get us to that moment. If you're meant to see that license plate with that special message, everything has to go right in your day to get you onto the road at that particular moment or second in time. Same with the car driving, same with the other cars around. They can't get in your way. So that means if you dropped your keys or you decided to make an extra cup of coffee or you got a paper cut in your finger and had to go put a band-aid on it and all of this like delayed things just enough to get you on the road at that time. It's like that's kind of like, whoa. It's
Yeah.
fascinating.
It means you needed to see it at that time. I do
Yeah.
feel like, we're magnetized to things we're supposed to see, and the timing is really the important part because, right, if you dropped your keys, maybe you still would have gotten the message, but you needed it at that time for a reason. And sometimes it's really interesting with who you bump into at that time or what you're given or the ahas. So it is, yes, it's quite magical. Stacia is asking, I connect with different numbers with different to different people in spirit. That's another thing too. A lot of times, loved ones have birthdays or they had a favorite number. So there's a lot of different ways to connect with numbers,
Yeah.
within yourself and with mediumship. And they're all archetypes that help us to decode energy.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that too. Cause if every time you think about your dad, for instance, who's passed away, and then you look at the clock and it's got that number, like that's your dad saying, hey, it's me. I'm here. Hello. I'm with you. I love you. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's amazing. Like I said, always
It
amazed.
is. There's certain numbers that really do just follow us around. It's a whole
Yeah.
thing within itself to talk about. What I want to ask you to as well. So it's one thing to open up yourself to like numbers and messages from the other side and embrace your mediumship. It's a whole nother thing to um like really start a community and to include people and to create like a weekly or monthly, depending on the frequency, like service for people to who can come and receive messages in that group setting. So you have For the Love of Spirit, and you've been doing that for quite a while. So how did that come
Yeah.
into being? I really would want to learn about that.
Yeah, thank you. So that started in 2020, and so I started trying to do something more live in the area that I live in, but then COVID quickly changed all that. So, like everybody else, we had to learn how to use Zoom back then, and that was all a new experience because most of us spiritual folk aren't all that techy, but we've been kind of forced to learn how to be. Look at us now; we're on StreamYard, and we're now we're now techie spiritualists.
Yes,
Which
for
is
real. Yes.
super funny. Yeah. So I
I agree.
we went over to I know, right? We went over to virtual, but that was a gift because it's connected us all internationally now. So it's like I get to meet people from all different countries, and I just never thought that that would be something that would be, back then. So it's been quite a gift in that respect. But I just felt this calling. It was another thing with my calling to bring people together. There's a lot of and it's not just in the outside world, but in spiritual land there's a lot of like competition, and it's part of the healing journey. That's how we learn and grow from each other and all of that. But it just hurt my heart a little bit sometimes. It's like 'cause I thought there could be room for all of us to shine, you know what I mean? And so that's why I felt that calling to try to like bring people together. And so like one person's modality of healing isn't more special than another person's modality of healing or astrology, or it's like I figure spirit created this beautiful photo behind you, rainbow of ways that we can connect, and rainbow of ways that we can serve, and rainbow of ways that we can help and do all of that. So I just wanted to bring a place that we be together for the love of spirit, literally, because we love spirit, but also spirit loves us, and we just love being in it. So it kind of goes both ways. And then to create opportunity for people to kind of, shine their light and spread their wings, to have a platform to work with a group, because everybody needs that. It's hard to get that initial kind of, chance to be in front of a group and have opportunity. And I was very lucky that things lined up for me to get that. And so I wanted to help create that as well for people too. And then I really try to keep it all focused about the love. So I feel very fortunate and grateful and blessed that we've been able to create that, really love frequency. We try to really keep it all about the heart centeredness, that um, the feedback I get is really positive, that everybody feels touched by the spirit. They get that love, they get that spark, they get that little spiritual massage kind of feeling that they can take, with them afterwards and keep for a while, and hopefully
Yes.
spread that around, hopefully spread that kindness, or that if they've got it, if they feel like their, frequency is raised into that more loving place, then they're going to be more loving to the people around them. Even maybe it's a smile to somebody on the street, or they go to the store and, they're in a good mood and they spread that kindness to the person at the cash register or something like that. So it kind of creates a little ripple effect. And we learn and grow together, and people come in with different topics they want to talk about. A lot of different kinds of mediums come in delivering messages from spirit, of course poetry, and we always do healing, we always do group healing. And so I have my beautiful angel team, and they work with me every time we have a service. Right now we're going about every 2 weeks. And they come in and help with like the group healing, because we're all trance healers, and we do all that together too. And so it is teamwork. I couldn't do it without all of them, nor would I want to, because it's not all about me, it's about all of us.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of work to have an
Yeah.
ensemble of people to provide healing and love and inspiration and spirit connection. So I give you a lot of kudos, and you prove just that
Thank you.
there is enough space for everybody. You're like, I refuse to accept this, and now I've created this instead.
Yeah, there's way more loved ones in spirit than there are mediums. So for, in that world, it's like there's plenty of loved ones to connect to. And it's like we don't need to be comparing each other and one-upping and doing all of that. It happens. We're all in our healing process. We all are. So I don't want to be too negative about it. It's just there's just room for all of us to shine, to all of us can, feel special. All of us can do this work and do something good for humanity together. There's plenty of good work to do for people out there. Thank you,
There
Heather.
is. Heather's giving a shout out, and then also
Yeah,
Aspen. She's so grateful
thanks,
um,
Aspen.
for
I saw
holding
Debbie was
space.
here. I wonder if she's still here. I know Debbie's my girl.
Yeah, I know I'm like bouncing around, but I want to say hello to One. She's in the room, and also to Debbie. Debbie, where are you? Debbie. She was just here a moment ago.
I
She's
know
just here
she's
a
so
moment
busy. She
ago.
may have to pop in and out sometimes. She's good.
It's 100, a
There
100,
she
a
is.
100 that she's always busy. So hi, Debbie. Okay, giving love to her. But yes, I mean, you have so let people know what they can like join and be a part of too. There's a speaker, there's a spiritual poet, there's the medium, and what I think sometimes you have like four. So tell me all the different slots that people
Yeah,
share when people come and they can receive.
yeah, thank you so much. And it can change a little bit. So, sometimes we have a little bit smaller group. So I may have, someone doing more than one thing, so it just kind of depends how I feel guided to do it. But we always have some kind of inspired talk. We always have messages from loved ones in spirit. I was just talking to my girl Shannon. She does angel messages, so I'm like, "Can you come on my Valentine's Day service and do some angel messages?" And she's like, "Yay!" So I'm so excited. I've already got that that going because it's Valentine's. You got to have angels on Valentine's Day,
Yeah, why not,
and
right?
I know, right? And
Heroes.
then poetry. Yeah, we open up in prayer. We end with prayer. We have poetry. One of my gals, MJ, she loves to find little bits of inspiration, written inspiration that she finds, and so she usually shares that. So I try to. Everybody has their kind of little niche that they like to do, and so. But I follow as I'm guided to do, because that's the only way I can. Because it's not my service; it's all of our service, but it's it's their spirit service too. So I kind of have to do what they say. I'm like, I just do what they say. Makes it very
It Yeah, it's meant to be that way,
yeah,
especially at a spiritual service, and you're
yeah,
right, it's really important because it gives a frequency that sustains people for their day or their week, and I know that a lot of times, like, people look to that for inspiration, because that's the one place they can get it because, um, not everybody needs a full reading or not everybody needs the exact um, yes, you picked me in the crowd so I can again have even my mini reading. Um, they just need the energy.
yeah. To be in the healing too. And I sometimes I might get a message from somebody who was signed up and they're like, I'm having a really bad day. I don't think I'm going to come. I don't want to bring that energy, into and I'm like, no, that's the exact reason why you should come, and it's like, so you can get the healing and feel better. It's like, no one's going to come in and like bring it down. It's all about together as a group, as a community. We're raising together and being in the love because love is more powerful than everything. So if you're coming and it's just love there, you're going to come into that and it'll help you feel better. So that's the trick. Just focus on the love.
Exactly. Like even Kevin's being awesome. He's saying powerful
Thanks,
crowd
Kevin.
today. The energy is amazing, which
Thank
is
you.
but that's really what, we hope whether any event, right? Or what you're facilitating because as healers, as mediums, as psychics within this work, and even like, putting on a show, we don't feel, up to par every day, but we come in and then we have such lovely people, and the healing is for everybody.
Very true. Yeah, even for us too, because we get it too. So that's why, like, because
Exactly.
like when I'm doing healing, I do a couple group healing free meditations every one morning, one evening during the month, every other week, and it's like it's not my energy that's going out to the people; it's the spirit, and they use me as like the conduit or the channel of the healing too, and so I'm getting it too, and so it's like not only is it like fun for me to be with the group because we're all there together it's and to know that I'm helping to being part of the healing and put it all together, but I'm also receiving it too so that afterwards I feel better also, not just for what I got to do and be and help with, but in my own self, like I got the little gift of healing too. So you're absolutely right. We don't
I
have to be
think
feeling
that
perfect all the time to do this work. We have to trust that spirit will come in, the power will come and move through us. And you could be, even sick and do this work and you'll be fine because spirit's going to come in and throw so much power into you to help you out, put their big old angel wings around you that you'll be able to get through that process. And then then you might sneeze when you're done. You get all done and then you turn off the Zoom. You're like,
achoo, achoo. Uh,
oh, there it is. It's back.
yeah, they give
A
us
little
just
humor.
enough. They give us just
Mhm,
enough and more. It's true. It's true. Like
mhm.
I think that spirit is also giving us lessons. So sometimes when we push it, we're pushing it too much. And spirit will go, okay,
Yeah.
we're going to help you, but we also want to help. You understand what you need to do to heal yourself. And sometimes
Yeah, no,
we go,
that's very true.
I will roll myself like out of bed and I'll just show up and they're like, "Okay, we'll help, but is it going to be the best we can do for you always?" No, because we're trying to have you understand what you can like heal within your human self. But correct, they never disappoint and they take away the physical symptoms or they choose. I
Yeah.
100% agree. And I think like the biggest thing that just comes forth when we talk about it is right, like it it helps you, it helps me, like anything that we are either a part of in the audience or we are facilitating, it just helps everybody and it just furthers whether someone feels good or furthers the
Mhm.
knowing where someone goes, I felt so good or this is so needed that now I'm going to try to create this and it furthers what's possible with what we're all doing. Debbie's giving us hearts. What's up, Debbie?
Thank
We're
you,
giving you a shout out
Debbie.
before. Hello.
Yeah, I totally agree, and you're right about, like, if we're like pushing the limits too much, then they might go and make something get canceled on us just to force us to rest, even if we don't want to. Because a lot of times we get to be diehards in this work, and we like being in that space all the time. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, she's got some 3D work she's got to get caught up on. We're just gonna just magically make that that schedule clear for the afternoon, and reboot for next week. And you're like, okay.
Can you break so for some I would say most of the people like listening would understand like 3D, but can you break down like what 3D is maybe versus 5D or how
Well,
that you
yeah,
describe it?
because when we're doing this work, it's very much in a container of of a certain kind of energy and a certain kind of flow, and we're very connected to it, right? But if, say, you're just grocery shopping or doing those kinds of like earthly things, it's a different you're much more immersed, you're much more feeling like your personality. And it's a different kind of feel. And when you start to do this work a lot, you can be real happy over there, but there's still this world that has to be attended to too. It's like you've got to take care of your car, and you got to pay your bills, and you got to, even for me, like doing my tech stuff, that kind of thing, that kind of stuff, make sure you answer your emails, all those kinds of things have to get done too. And so, but it's more fun to be over there sometimes. So it's like sometimes, yeah, the magic of spirit is they may work things around, so that you will have that time, and they'll be like, chop chop chop, time to get going. And you usually can feel, I can feel it, I can feel they're like, knock knock, you're done. Okay.
Yeah, the 3D is like paying your
Mhm.
taxes stuff. It's kind
Yeah,
of
I know, right?
and sometimes spirit will put attention to the 3D because they're just like, if I know, like, how can I put it? A lot of people get so ramped up in this work, and it's very
Mhm,
natural because it produces so many good insights and so many good understandings. But then sometimes in order to get those understandings we might be meditating or in a chair all day because like maybe we're being techie spiritual warriors, sharing the love and light and just broadcasting, but then
mhm,
it's just like, oh my gosh, it's almost like I forgot how to use my feet or I forgot how the other things that I have to do around me. And spirit is like, we need you as a vessel to make sure that you're around and you're in like good condition or even tip top shape to continue the work. So they
mhm.
call us back to the 3D. They really do.
Yeah, yeah, very true. And we have to have the life experiences to be able to connect with people too, because in mediumship, they use our life experiences to give us those pieces of information. So if you've been to Disneyland and there's a memory of Disneyland with the loved one and the person who's receiving, they can pull up your memory to let you know that that's a connection. So everywhere you've been, everything you've learned becomes part of like your encyclopedia of information that they can work from. So the more actually of that life stuff that we do, going places, meeting people, doing things out of our comfort zone, trying new things, it gives them more to work with. And I love using the example of Albert Best, one of the pioneer mediums of back in the day. He was a postman first. So they
Mm.
used his knowledge of that. And so when he did his mediumship, he could connect with all like the names and addresses of people. And that was kind of like one of his special things. So it's like they use what so the more we learn. So if you want to like I have a love of music, all kinds of music, and so it's like they can use my music encyclopedia to give people songs that will give them messages or songs that are special memories. So it is important to be here too, to live this life and have your relationships with people and nurture those and then do life stuff, and it will help you over there too. So it's kind of like a balance. That's why they say as above, so below. You have that kind of the balance. And it can be hard sometimes to maintain that, but we try. We wiggle it out. We figure it out.
Yeah, the balance is always is tricky because we're learning the next thing to like hold our weight in. Once we get good in one area, we go, oh, and then I have to count for this. And right, it's very interesting. I love that you bring up, and I always say his name wrong. It's Albert Best, right? Is it?
Yeah.
I'm saying okay, all right. Thank you for helping with that. But I love that you bring him up because like I reference him being a postman, like when I give people examples of what's possible, like with mediumship or, how we all have these natural talents, right? And we just pull from different parts of our energy that naturally is us, whether we come into it or we experienced it prior. But at the end of the day, we have to experience it to have it under our belt. And, we have to enjoy and play within life. And that's how we bring understanding to other people. The esoteric is lost on a lot of people unless they really love philosophy and they really, like a good riddle. But most times, like within spirituality, when you're inspiring people, people will be like, well, what did that mean? What did that
Ex-
mean for me?
exactly. Yeah, you have to be able to break it down to in a way that people can understand. And that's why we have to live this life too, and we have our own story. Like, even if we work for spirit, we still have our own story of our life to tell. And so we've got to live it. You can't escape from your story. Maybe for a little while, if you're in some deep transformation, but you're gonna get put back in this world again too, to finish your story, keep living it. Yeah.
Finish your story and keep living it. And yeah, if you ever want to look up Albert Best, as Jennifer mentioned, a phenomenal medium, he would give people their exact address, like
Yeah.
as evidence, which is so cool. And we all have our little signatures, right? I'm really into like health and wellness. So sometimes like I can feel into people's bodies, or I can like know what supplements they take, or but that comes from, my interests or jobs that I had in my
Yeah.
past. And do you find yourself having little things like from whether it's your personality or symbols or references that come up for you too?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm like you too. I do have that like health and wellness background too, that just because out of interest. So sometimes I get that too. I'm a little more free flowing with that. Like if I'm just with my friends and things like that I'm like reading for, just because, it's like I try not to go too medical with my stuff because I don't advertise myself as
It's
like
a
a medical
whole other
person.
ethical
Right, yeah,
conversation.
so I try to be, like, really, really careful with that too, but I can't get
Correct.
that with when I'm in, like, like, with just a friend and we're just, like, doing it, just for fun kinda thing, too. But I love working with flowers, I love working with music, and colors, all of those kinds of things. So it's like, um, yeah, for sure. It's just like, and they'll use all of that, and it does make it fun. And then I love because I'm very clairsentient. I'm very in touch with my emotions. Always been highly sensitive, and people tell me like I'm on the high scale of sensitivity. I don't know what that means because I only know me, but so I can connect that way with with the emotional container that we're in with people too. So I can feel into what spirit may want to show me about their lifetime and things like that. And I like that. I like being able to do that. It's kind of like when you listen to a real soulful song, it might be a little melancholic, but you get kind of into it, like, because there's something about that that feels very alive. It's
Yeah.
without that we're kind of robotic, so to be really in touch with your emotions, you feel very alive because you're part of the flow and the color and all of that too. So yeah.
I agree. Like, emotions are a defining point of what make us human. I mean, people,
Yeah.
it's important to be logical. I really do feel that. I feel like there's a lot of beauty in logic. But being logical is not the forward part of being human. Like, that's like, uh, or being analytical, the top, all of a sudden I can't speak. I'm not very logical right now. The top like mechanics of being logical are like performed by like machines and computers because they don't miss. Like humans are more naturally creative and emotional. And that's what separates us from other things in the animal kingdom or other things on earth that can replicate or use energy. We're very emotional, creative beings, and we can lean sometimes, certain directions within that. We don't have to be just I have to be an emotional person, or I have to be a highly creative person. We can be however we are. And yeah, it comes out in our readings, like Like, right, I might feel into someone's knee or rib cage, or I might know that they take fish oil, or, they're really excited about eating spinach, right? So, or just other aspects of who we are. Just since we've been a young child. You said I've always been in touch with people's emotions, and not every medium is in touch with people's emotions. They might be very in touch with the spirit world or being an excellent communicator, but they're not in touch necessarily with what's happening right in front of them or on an ongoing basis. There's so many different ways to be energy sensitive that a lot of people don't employ, that people would just assume that they just naturally are like that. Like, oh, you're a medium, you must be an empath, things like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well said.
Well,
But
people think sometimes. Oh, go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, what you made me, as you were speaking, what you made me kind of think of too is that if we think about like math, we think math is very logical, but it's like the numbers and the shapes, there's a creativity to that too. That's part of the language of the universe, of the energy and the frequency too, is the math. So is the music, and music's based on math too. And then if you look at, like um, the perfection of nature, that's still based on, math too. And it's like they've plugged in plants into certain machines and been able to hear the music that the plants make. It's fascinating, some of the stuff they can do. So they really do go together. That's why some people say like religion and science go together. They really do. So it's just a matter of like finding the combination. And I do love when a loved one in spirit comes through, and maybe they were very a logical person, but the way they show it to me is I can see like the landscape of their mind space, and they may put a lot of like facts and figures and formula type of symbols up in there, and I go, ooh, that's fun.
It's
But for them, that's
it
what made them feel alive. That was their passion too.
Absolutely. I mean, it's
Yeah,
it's all here, right? Like
yeah,
sacred geometry, like nature, like echoes, all the glimmers of what is possible. And
I love that
sometimes I
too.
think, as humans, we, can do certain things. Like an elephant can do certain things, or a tree can do certain things, or the sky and the atmosphere. It's just as our consciousness decided to have a human experience, as a human we do certain things uh, amidst all the wonderment. And it's exciting, I think, more and more to know that mediumship and psychic ability and healing ability is possible within being human.
Yeah, it's really good. And I love how you said all the glimmers, because it's just like all the little aspects of everything, and you get to. It really is. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's perfectly imperfect at sometimes, and chaotic and orderly all at the same time. That's where you start getting into the riddles of it, but that's the fascination of it. That's the intelligence of it. It's sometimes beyond what we can put into words, and that's when you just kind of have those breathtaking moments and just kind of go, it's like just kind of wow. It's like it's a transcendent kind of moment where you can just kind of bask in the wonder that we exist in. It's a nice place to be. If only
It's a
we could
nice
stay
place
there all the time. I would love it if we could just stay in that all the time. It'd be great.
and we can always like cultivate, to cultivate that
Mhm.
space of I can go there, I can go there. We all need our safe spaces or our inspiration places. And you have created that for people. You have created that for people. um there is meditation, there is sitting within the power. We have, our spirit guides, we have prayer. Everyone comes from a different background of religion and culture. People have God, the universe, the divine. And I know I have a lot of those things inside me, but there are days where I wake up that I have to like remember constantly, because I'm like, I feel weird. Even though
Like
we have
I'm
all this
really
at our
human today.
disposal.
I know, like I feel really human today. This isn't right.
Yeah, I do not feel
Yes,
right within my soul.
I know. Yes, that happens. That really does. I know, and it's possible that people may think we're kind of in this state of like bliss all the time. It's no, we're not. We're not. We have normal lives and problems and things we go through and emotions that we work through, just like everybody else. That's how we learn and grow and keep evolving and working within our being too. So, but we just try our best. You know, see, I'm rubbing my nose, so that's them saying, yeah. You know, so we all just try. We try the best that we can from day to day, and do it with as much grace as possible. And what more, what more can we ask? Spirit doesn't ask any more from us than that. We sometimes put so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect all the time, and they're not asking that. They're not expecting that, because it is through the contrast of life that we grow and learn. And there seems to be a love from God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, to see how much beauty can be created, how much more love can be created out of difficult circumstances, with just the image of the flower making its way through the concrete. Like, how did that happen? Like, it found a way, nature found a way, beauty found a way, the rebuilding after the destruction, it seems to find a way. It reminds me of that song, Celine Dion, she goes, "Let beauty come out of ashes." It's really, really beautiful, deep song that I like to listen to sometimes if I'm going through transformation, to remind me that, like, something good is coming from, like, this, difficult thing I'm moving through and things like that. So, yeah. Don't know where
I
that came from,
agree.
but yeah.
No, hey, it's
Mm,
what was needed. And I think the more energy sensitive you become, your spectrum of knowing what's possible and experiencing what is possible stretches out. So yes, you receive actually more love. That's very, very true. But you can receive more of other things that just makes life, because that's what's on the planet, or that's what people are experiencing. And now you are opening yourself up to more of what people are experiencing, because those are part of the messages, and those are part of the ways that people need to be seen. So that's why we can get such a, an odd mixture at times. You could wake up feeling really the whole other side of humanity sometimes.
yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that's very true. Debbie and I have conversations sometimes, and she needs to remind me, because I may be in a mood, and she's like, "You're feeling the collective right now too, right? This isn't all you." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." She's like, "Do you remember we were just talking about the planets?" "Oh yeah, I forgot." And then once I know, like, once I remember it, then it's like, then it moved, then I can move it out. You know what I mean? And I feel so much better, because, oh, I thought it was on me. Thank God for my
that's
girl. Why am I
that's such a
crying? She's like, "Yes, you're feeling you're about to go live, honey. You're feeling everybody that's about to come on and what they're going." Oh yeah.
that's it's very smart and intelligent of Debbie, and it's very true. And just like, as a psychic medium, it makes us laugh, because it's just like,
I should
hold
know, but
up,
I don't.
hold up. We're not in our own energy. Hold up. Just
I
shake it
know.
off.
I know. But and it just goes for it, because I mean, I teach this stuff too, but I needed to be reminded also, because when you're in it, you're in it. You can't get out of it sometimes. When you're in it, you need that help, and that's why we're helping each other. We're all healing each other, helping each other, and just kind of giving those little reminders. And so thank God for that. We have our little tribe of angels in our life. Everybody needs that. So it's like, let's all build our tribe, and then we're all helping each other, because I do kind of feel like it's supposed to be together. You know what I mean? It's like, we have a very personal journey as spiritual beings, but we're never disconnected from everybody else. Not somebody on the other side of the planet, not anywhere, not somebody in spirit. We're always connected to everything. So there is something very special about the togetherness, the working together, the exchange of love, the exchange of ideas, exchange of energy, all of that too. It's nothing we need to be scared of. It's just be in the flow of. The more we're in the flow of it, the easier I think life gets too. And even when you're not in the flow, that's still part of the flow. It's reminds me of Eat, Pray, Love, when Katuk said to Liz, played by Julia Roberts, he says sometimes getting out of balance is part of being in balance too. So we can all just kind of like give ourselves a little grace when it's not all going the way we want it to.
Yeah. Life is made to be unexpected, like, if it was expected, we would just go through everything and not learn very much. We just we want to, like, ace life, or we think things are a certain way, or like, if I'm, the more I'm in my spiritual gifts, the more I would know, and I'd avoid things. And why didn't I see this coming? Or I should have this if I'm able to see this or hear that. And it's none of that. It's none of that at all. It's just about allowing to happen what happens, and just going, okay, I hear you, I see you, I feel you. Let's just keep going and see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, very, very true. Really, really well put. And there's also the divine plan we're all part of, and so things are going to happen that we have no control over. It's like, ultimately, like there is a higher part of us that's, running the show all the time, most of the time, whatever we want to believe. But um, there's plenty of times where we realize things are happening and there's nothing we did to create it. There's nothing we did to cause it. It's not in our control. Natural disasters, a big job change, a move happens all of a sudden. None of this maybe was planned, but the universe had to move the chess pieces around on the board to get you to that place where you were supposed to go. You just didn't know you were going there because we're living the life as the experiencer. And so when you're the experiencer, even if we're intuitive, that doesn't mean we get to know where everything is going to land or where it's going to go. And it's hard, because it's hard to not to be in the unknown. It can be fun at some points to play in that area, but it also can be hard to know, like, oh, and then you feel like, oh, you feel so out of control. Well, but we're never separate too.
We're never separate. We are never separate. So everybody just keep calling yourself back, whether it's through, your higher self, your friends saying, it's the collective, come back. Or being like-minded souls, right? Speaking of the reconnecting, how are some where are some places that people can connect to you, and what do you have going on if people want to be a part of it? I want to make sure people can find you.
I really love talking to you, Kelly. So I just want to thank you for creating this beautiful platform and allowing me to come on and talk to you. So I really appreciate you so much. And you do have an absolutely lovely presence about you. I mean, you really just are just a beautiful earth angel here. So just thank you for what you do. And so from the bottom of my heart, I want to just give you that appreciation. And I know it's not just me saying it, it's also spirit world saying it too, because you create a lot of love and healing for people, and you're doing something really, really good. So I'm just feeling like blessed that I got to be here with you. So I want to give you that first too.
Thank you. I'm blessed to have you. Thank you so much for your kindness.
Thank you. I'm over at mediumjenniferrose.com. On Facebook, I'm Medium Jennifer Rose with no added punctuation. And on Instagram, I'm Jennifer Rose Medium with no added punctuation. I say that because there's other mediums and psychics out there with the same name as me. So they've got different variations of how they're spelling it. So I just kind of figured that out, and I was like, okay, so that's me too. I do have Sunday service this Sunday. We've got Adam Berry, really well-loved medium over from England, who's going to be doing our Inspire talk. And my Sparkle Queen from Scotland, Alice Trevorrow, a good friend of mine, she's going to be doing the mediumship. Debbie and Fran Pierce are going to be doing our spiritual poetry. It's our holiday service, so we're going a little extra big on that one too. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We have lots of love, lots of music, lots of healing. So hopefully people can come for that. I teach mediumship development circles every week. And we're just a kind of really like, really just like loving, no pressure group that you can be in to practice your gifts. And we kind of keep it out of the box. So it's like we do focus on evidential mediumship, but if a guide wants to come through or an angel wants to come through, they're always welcome to. So I try to kind of keep it sort of all welcome in that respect too. I'll be putting some workshops on the schedule next year for mediumship, for platform, for trance healing. So that'll be next year coming up. Get that going once I just got to make it through the end of the year. And I do group healing meditations. They're free or donation twice a month. So that's where we sit in the power. We do trance healing and a little channeled message. I call it my all-in-one little specialty thing I like to do. So, and then wherever I'm called or asked to be, then I show up. I try to say yes as much as I can.
So there's a lot of places that people can find you, and it's all through like Jennifer Rose, like on Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, and my website. So I'm not on all the other platforms. Debbie's kind of pushing me in that direction. She's like, come on, girl, time to get on this. Time to get. Okay, we'll get. That YouTube thing has been like 2 years, like Spirit put the idea in, and it's like, it's like, well, just kind of, you got to help me, Spirit, and it's like, I'll get it going. Just got to help me. So I'm feeling like the energy's finally there. I can get that going because I have people ask me for my channelings and things like that. And so it's like, okay, I've got to get that edited out of that and put that over there for people so that they can hear it and listen to it again or enjoy it, because there's a frequency there that is always going to be there, even if it's recorded from prior. There's a frequency there that people can get something out of it and listen to those words as well. So yeah, working on that. It's always a work in progress.
It's we're techie, intuitive ninjas just trying to figure out our moves. There's a lot going on.
It's a lot of work. And then if we're just busy, if we're just busy serving, we're living our lives, we're doing our readings, we're teaching our classes and all this kinds of stuff. So it's like trying to squeeze in all of the rest is, sometimes you have to pull those all-nighters, to where you're like working till 10, 11 o'clock at night and you can't, some people are diehards. They're going till 12, 1, 2 in the morning. I'm like, how do they do that?
Like, people are just built differently. We're all built differently for different reasons. I hear you. Yeah, some people go really hard with what they're able to do, and they still are like, "Good morning, isn't it a lovely day?" And it's just like, I need my 8 hours or 9 occasionally. Sorry, everybody.
And we have to have coffee. We have to have coffee in the morning, or there is no morning medium. There's no morning meeting without coffee.
Certain things have to happen in order for us to just be okay.
This is very true. This 1 o'clock time hour worked out very well for me. It's like, oh, I had plenty of time to dream.
Exactly. I want everyone to have all the coffee, all the walks, all the meditation, or
I know, right?
Whatever they need to do. Okay, whatever you need to do. That's why it's easy going, easy flowing. Another thing that I like to give to the guest always is the last word. So, what is something that you would like to share, whether it's off the cuff, a favorite inspiration you hold dear, whatever that comes?
Something I've said multiple times that I just like to remind people is that you're just all beautiful and perfect just the way you are. We try so hard to be so much and to do so much good, and it's like you're just beautiful and perfect just the way you are. You are spirit, and that part of you is always divine. And our personality is a beautiful thing, and it's got multiple parts to it, but it's all working together at the end in your favor, because we don't know the higher plan of everything. We don't know why everything happens, and it's hard to not know. And sometimes things can feel so personal, but at the end of the day, like everything kind of happens for a reason. We just don't know it until later, and we don't understand it until later. So just hold yourself in as much like love and grace and acceptance as you can in life too, because insecurities are a normal, natural part of the human experience. Doubts, negative thoughts are too, because it's, we live in duality. So it's like you're going to have both. It's just a dance. We're just in this continuous dance. And some of the dances are fast and some of the dances are slow. Some of the dances you're tripping over your feet, and some you're perfect, like as if you had the perfect step. And you never know how it's going to be. And for some reason, that's how they like it. That's how God rolls to say. So just, love yourself the best that you can, as much as you can, as long as you can. So that's what I would give you.
It's a lot of beauty to give. Thank you again, Jennifer, for being on the show today. It's been a pleasure. Please, everybody, check her out at jenniferrose.com. And Lucas, Kevin, Stacia, Debbie, thank you to everybody who's been popping in and out. So much love. With that said, everybody take care. I will see you on probably Thursday for the numerology hour and Friday for the reading show. You can catch me there at 1 o'clock for Friday's reading show. Please go with love, luck, lights, everybody, and don't forget to live. See you soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.